the Sports Reverends podcast. Happy 2023. My name is Dan Chandran. I'm joined with my co-hosts, Drew Martin, and my big brother, also known as the coach, Joel Chandran. How are you fellas doing this 2023?
Great. I'm stuck here in Selkirk, you know. It's probably, I don't know what the weather's like in Toronto, but we're in the dead of winter. 3 more months.
Coach, what weather we got here in Toronto?
It's a balmy -1.
-1 today. It was in the pluses at some point today.
Yeah, I think high of 2 or something like that.
High of 2.
Hard to keep the car clean at that in that weather.
Well, there's no snow, so there's nothing to get dirty.
It's just rain, so the car has been staying clean. I'm a reverend down in downtown Toronto. I'm joined with Drew, who's a reverend in Selkirk, Manitoba. You can Google where that is. And Coach is our analytics guy. So that's who we are. And we're going to talk some sports and life, and that's what we do. So let's get started with some quick hitters.
Go ahead, Drew.
University of Georgia. Is that what it is? UGA?
Yes, sir.
Defeats TCU a whopping 65-7 in a college football playoff final.
Carlos Correa won't sign with the Giants or Mets, but signs a 6-year, $200 million contract.
With the Twins.
Toronto Blue Jays trade for Dalton Varsho and sign Brandon Belt.
Argentina, Messi wins the World Cup versus France in penalties.
Steph Curry returns to action Tuesday night against the Phoenix Suns.
Morikawa blows 6-stroke lead to join Rahm for the Century Tournament of Champions in Hawaii. Golf.
Maybe you should have read these over before.
Yeah.
Canada wins the World Juniors 3-2 in overtime. Connor Bedard racked up 36 points over his 16 World Junior Tournament games.
All right, before we go anywhere else, we're going to send us to commercial. Coach, take it away.
I think we should hire somebody to be our censor person here and read our scripts first.
No, we need to get Dad. Dad would be the funniest, or Bruce. Bruce or Jonathan should rotate doing this. This would be great.
That would be really funny. Speaking of Jonathan, Train to Invest, we are a education company that teaches you guys how to trade in the stock market on your own, avoid having to use a broker, and have somebody pay attention to your money and actually cares about your money, which is you. Your future is important, and we want to help you get to where you want to be, whether it's paying off for weddings, university for all 4 Drew's kids there, or even just retirement. Whatever you're looking for, securing yourself in the future, come visit www.traintoinvest.com, download our free ebook, and give us a shout from there. Again, it's www.train2invest.com.
Boom.
All right, topic number 1. We've been off for a little bit, but let's start with our NFL friends here. For those of us who have teams making the playoffs, it's a good couple of weeks. For some of us, that's not so good. But let's start off on Saturday's games. Seahawks, Niners. Who you picking? Why? If you feel up to it, what's the spread going to be?
Go ahead, Drew.
You know what? The 49ers are going to win by a lot.
Wow.
I don't know what the spread is right now, according to Vegas, but
They got 9.5.
9.5, yeah.
They're going to win by 9.5 on Seahawks?
Yeah, I can't see this game being close. Geno Smith has sort of tailed off at the end of the season, I feel. They haven't been able to run the ball that much, and you're not going to be able to run against the 49ers. I think they win by 2 touchdowns.
I agree with you that the 49ers will win, and probably convincingly. We'll have to give Geno Smith some flowers, though. Come on, he just got the most passing yards in Seattle.
Well, I'm not saying he hasn't been good.
And yeah, I agree with you. He's tailed off a bit. I think maybe not tailed off. I think defenses just have figured him out. Although he's looked okay the last week, but I think they do cover. I think they win by a touchdown. The 49ers.
Wow, you guys have a lot more faith in Brock Purdy than I do. And I'm the Niners fan out of the group. Maybe that's just me being sketched out here, but
We
I
believe
think
in
it's
their
going to be
defense. If
believe in
you
their defense, but you still got to put some points on the board. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if the defense put up all the points for the Niners, even though they have tons of weapons. I think playoffs versus regular season is a different game altogether. There's a lot of pressure on Purdy to manage the game, and that could give Seattle some openings. But I'm going to go with the win. I think the Niners by 3. I think they win by a field goal. That's my take on that. So
tight one.
tight one. But
The 49ers do not need a quarterback to win this game.
They haven't needed a quarterback all the last half of the season.
They have
so.
an embarrassment of riches on both sides of the ball. Like
I'm just trying to temper expectations here. Okay, I don't want to come back here next week and be like,
I think they should play McCaffrey at quarterback and Debo at running back, and they'd be the best team in the league.
I was waiting for Drew to say I could play quarterback for the 49ers, and they would still win. And I would probably agree with that. That's how good they are.
But this next game is going to be fun. I think this next game's fun.
Chargers Jags.
Yeah.
Give us your breakdown.
I want to hear Dan first.
Yeah, this is so
we haven't
tough.
talked about this.
This is so ridiculous. Yeah, I know. Trevor Lawrence has just totally turned it around, right? He's the quarterback we've expected him to be. But the Chargers O-line is just so bad at the same time. I don't know. I think I'm going to go with the Jags. The Jags are going to take this. Trevor Lawrence, I know I love Justin Herbert, but I just think Trevor Lawrence, that defensive front line for the Jags is superior to that awful O-line. And the coaching is also awful for the Chargers as well. So I'm going Jags. Trevor Lawrence, 3 points. Let's go.
Yeah, I believe in this Jags team. Trevor Lawrence is just getting better and better, and like there's no limitations on what he can do on a football field. He can run it, he can throw, he can bomb the ball, and he's got weapons there.
Yeah.
And with Etienne coming around, like he's a Swiss Army. He sort of looks like a CMC type running back. Christian Kirk, you know, I'm even looking forward to next year when they get Calvin Ridley in that lineup, and that wide receiving court is going to be unreal. Doug Peterson is a proven coach. He's willing to take risks, and I think that's going to win them this game. I think they win by at least 6.
We just talked about Brock Purdy starting this. I think Trevor Lawrence is a different category of a quarterback. I think he's done it all in college. He had a rough first year, but that was, I don't think, necessarily his fault.
Terrible coaching.
Terrible environment all the way around, right? So not really conducive to you being a winner. But I think he is who we think he is, and I think this Jags team. I'm calling it for the Jags. I'm calling it a touchdown at least, and let's roll on from there. I think it's going to be an interesting Saturday for sure. No volunteering on Saturday. Okay, Daniel, I am busy.
Same.
All right, let's roll to Sunday's games. Here we go. Dolphins, Bills. Teams going in potentially opposite directions right now.
Who is playing quarterback for the Miami Dolphins?
This game's a joke. Dolphins are a joke. I don't care if Tua is playing either. Bills are running over these Dolphins.
But what other team comes into the playoffs and you could have potentially 3, like, you have questions of 3 different, like, who's starting quarterback for the team?
I have no idea. I can't even tell you who started their last week in their must-win game.
His last name was Thompson, wasn't it? Or like
something like that. I don't know, but they're not. This is a wash. This is a 10-point win for the Bills.
Yeah, the Bills are on fire right now, and they got the motivational boost of playing for Damar and the whole thing. Whatever you feel about that, But yeah, I think the Bills run away with it. Josh Allen is playing at a different level right now.
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs he can get open where I don't care what corner you put on him. Like he can line up anywhere, and their defense is better than what they've shown. So I think they show up in the playoffs. I think they roll over the Dolphins. Doesn't matter.
The,
Yeah,
the
it'll
only
be
time it
10
won't
point
be
10 point game.
yeah, the only crazy thought is that if there may be a potential huge snowstorm again, which may slow down their passing game, but that'll be the best defense for the Dolphins. Just saying. That's all I'll add.
If you're Miami, do you extend Tua?
I don't know what your other option is. Like,
Yeah.
who else are you going with?
Or do you give him like a smaller cap or a smaller contract maybe?
I
You
don't
don't
think
have
he
to
takes it, but
But then who else is going to pay him?
nobody.
They're kind of just in a tough spot.
Yeah, it's
Hey,
a
there's a spot for Aaron Rodgers. Go down to Miami.
Or Derek Carr, or even Jimmy G.
Tyreek and Waddle with Aaron's arm talent.
It's over.
that would shake things up a little bit. That would shake things up a little
Like
bit.
they were the two best. They were two of the highest receivers this year with Tua as their quarterback.
Yeah.
Imagine giving them a half competent one,
Like,
Yeah.
just watching Tua underthrow them all game long, yet they still get
which is
like,
actually good. You know what? If you're the way they're calling pass interference these days, underthrowing receivers is actually good.
true.
That
True.
is
Good
that
point.
is very
Because
good.
if they're coming back to the ball, the defender has no option but to get in their way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I think we're calling a Bill sweep on this one.
Yeah.
Giants Vikings. The schedule makers were not willing to put Kirk Cousins to play on a Monday, so you don't get to see any Monday curse. But Giants Vikings, you guys got. So let's go Dan first, please.
All right.
Well,
I
we know
believe
who
the
he's
last
gonna
time.
pick.
No, I believe the last time they met, the Giants won. The Giants beat the Vikings in the regular season. But I think Kirk. I'm going with Kirk. Because it's not a big day slot, and the Giants they're gonna get a little bit of rust because they rested everybody, and I'm mad at them. So because they didn't even try against Philadelphia. Not that it mattered, but I think no. But I think Vikings handedly by 7.
Handedly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Two things you can bet on in the playoffs: running game and defense, and that is what the Giants have. Uh, they shored up that offensive line this year, and their defense is solid. I like Brian Daboll. You
I have
know,
questions on their defense. That's all.
like they're better than Minnesota's defense.
Yeah,
I can tell you
that's true.
that. But Saquon is back to what we thought Saquon was.
Yeah.
I have to eat some humble pie on calling Saquon. I thought he was done
Wow,
with all the injury.
this is a new year.
A new
Drew's eating
year,
humble
admitting
pie.
I was wrong on Saquon because
Wow.
he is back to being he's right there with I think Derrick Henry as top
Yeah.
running back in the league.
Yeah,
And
and he's younger.
you know what? Another example of a quarterback not having to do much. Just don't turn the ball over. Daniel Jones can give you what you need. Yeah, I think the Giants win this one by 3 points.
I agree. I
And
think
Kirk Cousins will throw an interception in the fourth quarter.
Whoa! Let's just talk about Kirk's heroic fourths this year. Come on, he's been great in the.
He
fourth
will
quarter.
throw an interception in the fourth quarter, trying to go to Justin Jefferson.
It's a toss up. Will Danny Dimes fumble the ball or will Kirk throw an interception? We don't know. I think it's.
I don't know. I think the toss-up is more 70-30 Kirk.
No, I don't think so. Danny Dimes is just as troublesome.
Not throwing the ball.
Losing the ball. Doesn't matter about throwing the ball.
I think I weigh in on this. My heart, I want Kirk Cousins to win, but I'm going with the Giants. I'm going with the Giants. I like the way they've been playing football, and Drew, you're right. It's defense and running. And when it comes to playoffs, it's every sport. Playoffs is always a different type of season, right? So Not much else to say on that one. Well, let's
Just
roll on
saying,
to
has the Kansas City Chiefs ever had a great run game? They've had
yeah. It's called
decent
Patrick Mahomes.
defenses. Okay, that's true.
All right. Next,
It's a different animal talking about the Chiefs. You can't just.
you can't emulate them. This is what it is.
All right, fine.
Ravens
take
Bengals.
that.
Come on, Ravens Bengals.
Oh,
This
How
will
do
be
you feel
another
about
fun
this?
one.
you go, Drew. You go.
Who is playing quarterback for the Ravens?
I think Lamar is. Lamar said he's back.
I hope so.
Don't matter. Go for it.
This is going to be a great matchup. I think the Bengals take it. The line's 7 right now, so they must have. I think that means Lamar's not playing.
That
right?
must be because that's a big line for 7.
It's definitely going to be closer than that because these are divisional foes. Ravens have a good defense.
Yep.
Didn't they pick up Roquan Smith in the middle of the year? Like,
Yeah.
their
They
defense is good.
They just paid him $100 million. Biggest signing for a linebacker.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the Bengals to win. They just have too much firepower. Like T. Higgins, like it's just too much. Mixon's been good. Burrow is confident, bordering on cocky, but I think that's what you need out of your quarterback going to the playoffs. I think they win. It won't be by 7. I think a field goal. I think 3-point game.
I'll take the Bengals at 7.
Just looking at the headlines, Lamar thinks he's coming back. Those around him aren't so sure. I think that's why the spread's so big. I think it's gonna be one of those knock 'em down, knuckle dragon games where it's just defense, and the first person making
North.
Yeah, that's the AFC North to a T, right? First person making mistakes gonna lose the game, right? I'm picking Bengals. Going with Bengals. I think they make a bit of a run here. And our Monday night feature, if you can even call it a feature, more of a stink fest.
This game is the worst of the weekend, I think.
Come on, baby. No, come on. Giants and Vikings suck too. Come on.
No,
the
Bills Dolphins will be the most boring game.
That's true.
So Drew, why don't you go first? Cowboys Bucks. Where are we at?
I don't even want to give him anything, but the Cowboys are going to win this game. Tom Brady,
the well has run dry, eh?
Yeah, they're good. They're not elite. Their offensive line is not great. I think from the games I've watched, he's been hit and rushed more than I've ever seen a Tom Brady team.
Yeah.
They have next to no running game. They sort of given up. I don't know if he's hurt or if they've given up on Leonard Fournette, but yeah, the Cowboys, as long as Dak Prescott doesn't throw a million interceptions, which he's done this year, he leads the league in interceptions and missed 5 games. It's Dak's to win or lose, but I think Cowboys win.
Okay.
I think that's pretty fair assessments there for sure. And yeah, like that, the Tampa Bay offensive line, I think, is the most decimated all season long. So I think there is talks about their left tackle coming back, but
Marcus Lawrence will have his way with.
Yeah,
and I got the Cowboys actually winning their second playoff game with Dak Prescott. So let's go.
What is going on with their running game? Who is the lead back out of those two?
They just got to keep going, like kind of AJ Dillon, and what's the other guy in Packers?
Aaron Jones.
Yeah, Aaron Jones. That's the style. Kind of a pass speed back.
I feel like if they made Tony Pollard is clearly more dynamic than.
But Tony Pollard can't get those 2-yard gains, that you need. He gets stuck in those big piles. That's where Zeke comes in. But give Tony Pollard.
So you're bringing
carries.
your running back that averages 2 yards a carry.
Well, no, he averages like almost 5. I think. You think he's 4.5, but I think the combination of the both makes it dynamic. So props to Kellen Moore there. But
what I'm trying to say is Zeke sucks.
They just got to, like you said, make the run game the focal point, not Dak Prescott, and that's been clear.
Yeah, so they can't get behind, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, here's the thing: if you make the run game the precedent, right, it slows everything down. It also gives you Brady more chance to figure something out.
No,
Also
you
keeps
keep running,
Brady
the
off the
clock keeps
field.
running.
But you also have more chances to just get a stops, right? Is what I'm saying. Like you keep getting, you could get 3 and outs pretty quick, and then you give Brady a chance to.
I just would rather.
I don't think the Bucks can stuff the run though.
Yeah.
Like their defense is not what it was when they won the championship.
Oh, for sure, for
Like
sure.
they don't have Sue up there anymore, right? Or
We gotta get Dak, Dinkin, and Diamond. That's it. Not
I'm
going deep.
I'm gonna be contrarian. I'm gonna pick the Bucks just for old time's sake.
yeah.
So we'll see how that.
I don't want. I wish both of these teams could lose. Like I wish that was possible.
We're gonna win our first
that'd be
playoff
fun.
game in a long time. All right, it's gonna be.
I
Great.
wish both of these teams could lose and the Packers get bumped in.
Sure prayed that last.
You know what? Just quickly talking about that Detroit Green Bay game.
Yeah, sure. We'll give you some time.
I would be way happier if the Seahawks lost earlier that day. If Detroit won that game to get into the playoffs, like that would be something I could cheer for. But Detroit beating us for us both to not make it just seemed bittersweet.
Can you not like everybody loves Dan Campbell though? Like
Oh,
that guy just...
no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I would want to cheer for the Lions if they were going into the playoffs.
Just they had a really good season.
Jared Goff was the best quarterback in the last third of the season.
Yeah, he was.
They finished 9-8. That's pretty impressive.
For a team that started 1-4.
Yeah, started 1-4, missed time with Amon-Ra St. Brown, and now
traded Hawkinson. Like their best.
Crazy.
That move made no sense to me.
Yeah. So hey, next year they're gonna look even better. So
yeah.
Fingers crossed. All right. Let's roll the commercial number 2.
Commercial number 2, Urban Hope is near and dear to my heart. It is the mentorship program I get to run in downtown Toronto. We currently had a great Christmas season. We were able to give over 200 presents away to different kids in the neighborhood. We were able to give, I think it was about 80 presents to the Wigwaman housing in the Canary District in downtown Toronto, the Indigenous housing there. So every kid in that building got a Christmas gift. So thank you all for your help with donations and all those kinds of things. Basically, Urban Hope is a mentorship program where kids are helping kids, and we provide a safe place for them to hang out and to teach them biblical principles. Also, we are currently in the end process of getting our basketball team started. We have a basketball program started with the coach being the coach. And we're excited to see where that goes. And we have a gym reserved and some players that are ready to do some tryouts. And we're going to create some elite basketball programming for kids that can't afford it and give them an opportunity to play. And we're very excited to see that. And if anyone knows who the coach is, he'll teach principles, biblical principles for the kids to learn on the court, but stuff that they will use off the court for life as well, which is very exciting. So if you're interested in supporting that, you can check out either the sportsreverends.com or churchinthecity.ca, and you can look for Urban Hope there, and there's ways to give that way. So thank you very much.
Why don't you roll us into topic number 2 here, Dan?
Number 2. So I'm already interested. We haven't had a chance to really talk as a group about Damar Hamlin and
Damar.
Damar Hamlin, Joel. He put it down wrong in the comments. I still should have known because I've said his name 17,000 times over the last week. But Damar Hamlin had, if you haven't heard, if you've been living under a rock, had a pretty traumatic moment on field where he collapsed. And basically they had one of the medical assistants on the field was giving him CPR, so he's almost basically had no heartbeat. They were able to bring him to hospital, and he was able to breathe with assistance. Currently, which is kind of great news, is basically he is now released from the hospital. He was able to attend a team meeting via, I think, Teams. And he's got a little bit of function back as well. So he's obviously on the road to recovery. We don't know how far that's going to go, but what was crazy was basically he was expected not to either wake up, be able to breathe on his own, and or have very good brain function, which he's able to have it seems to be that he has full brain function in terms of speaking and remembering and all that stuff. So I'll pass it on to you guys to give your thoughts on the situation, maybe the reactions of kind of the world and the thoughts about it all, and then I'll share some of mine.
I can go first. I mean, I don't have a ton to say on this. Obviously, very scary. I saw another clip where a university kid collapsed playing basketball. So I think as an athlete, that's pretty shocking. You can understand, sprains and twists and stuff, but somebody collapsing is quite traumatic. Um, it was and has been interesting to see the outpouring of hope, I think, and well wishes. Obviously, there's has been some people who tried to tie it to COVID and vaccinations at one point, which I think was really stupid. But seeing, I think he has a charity as well that was supposed to donate toys, and like it was a GoFundMe for donating toys in his neighborhood, and that like blew up like a couple $1 million as people gave. So great to see that he is doing well on the road to recovery. Even better to see some positives come out of this traumatic event, and God being mentioned in a positive way in mainstream media.
Drew, why
My
don't you go
next,
ahead? Yeah, why don't you go ahead?
like, obviously this was a terrible thing that happened. Like a 24-year-old having cardiac arrest. It had nothing to do with football. It's like it's a play you see all the time. And yeah, we're not supposed to ask any questions about any like what. Yeah. Anyways, Joel
But
called
hey,
it
this is the
Joel called it
sports.
stupid, so I'm not allowed to do it.
No, this is
But
the Sports Reverends
like
podcast. You speak your mind.
no, no, what I like it's a 24-year-old having cardiac arrest, a
Hmm.
peak athlete, and we're not supposed to ask how is a 24-year-old having a heart attack? But
All
anyways,
right, I mean,
you can look into it however you want, but this is happening all over the world. You can stick your head in the sand and say it's not, but it is, and people call you crazy or that you're wearing a tinfoil hat. It is happening. These peak athletes under 30 who aren't supposed to be having this happen, right? It's happened, and people are like, "Oh, this always happened." No, I think the reaction is of us being pray for Damar is that this isn't normal. This isn't happening all the time.
let me just clarify one thing. Whether it's COVID or not, I don't know, right? And there's obviously research that has to go into it. What I meant by my statement was meant to be people focusing more on the COVID or why instead of this person's life.
No, obviously, like
That
I
that's what I was going with. I mean, I there's whole yeah, I agree with you on that part on the COVID piece, but it's the focus shouldn't have been, oh, let's just start looking into anti-vax, blah blah blah. It's more about this guy might possibly die,
right.
right?
And no, I totally agree. And I think it's it's unfair if people when we make it that argument, it makes both sides sort of sound like we don't care about his life because we have to come in and sort of
Yeah,
bring some sense to it, right? I think Jason Whitlock was talking about that. Like it's unfair because we feel like jerks coming in and being like, "Oh, can we ask a question?" Like,
right.
"Oh," and then we're like, "Oh, you don't care about his life." No, yeah, obviously that's first priority. We want him to get, but there's also the other side trying to attack football, like, "Oh, we shouldn't be playing football." This had nothing to do with violence in football. There's a million hits that happen way worse than what happened here. But I think people are using this as a platform for all sorts of things that like just I don't know, like it doesn't seem right. Like no one's even heard of the Peyton Hillis story, right? Like
Yeah.
Peyton Hillis, star running back, saves his kids from drowning and he's on life support and no one's even talking about it. A true heroic act fighting for his life. Why aren't we talking about him? I don't know. Like Damar Hamlin, no one's even heard of his name before this week.
Hmm.
Uh, if this had happened in a non-Monday night, I'm not saying we shouldn't be praying for him to get better, but if this happened on a non-Monday night game that got canceled after, like what, like I don't know.
What would the outrage actually be?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, those are great thoughts, guys, and I think both. I think both at the end of it, you guys are actually agreeing, and
Yeah.
I think for the most part, I agree with you guys as well. And what I guess what I took from it is that there's been so much polarizing conversations that have happened over this last like 3 years, right? And to me, there was some people talking about. I didn't even hear actually much about people talking that much about saying it's a vaccination problem. Actually heard more people saying from some of the mainstream media saying, "Oh, Republicans don't care about this guy because he's," and they're fully saying that on CNN. I'm like, where did you get that turn to? Now, where I land is that for me, at least for the most part, I think most people are coming together and actually putting their own thoughts and stuff away and selfishness away and actually saying, hey, I'm gonna actually throw love and support to this guy. And to see actually some of the pictures of all the teams coming together, like every staff member and every player, and at the beginning of a game, and then listening to the chaplain as he shares an encouraging word and praise for the game. I thought that was really cool. I'm not even a fan of Dan Orlovsky, but he actually paused in the middle of an ESPN broadcast instead of just saying thoughts and prayers. He's like, I'm actually going to pray. And he prayed like he's prayed before. So it was really cool to see that. And
Can't mention Jesus though.
yeah, exactly. You get slapped in the hand if no, you get canceled if you mention Jesus. And but for even him to pausing in the middle and actually praying is him stepping out of line there for ESPN, which I thought was very bold of him.
It's amazing how it's amazing how no one's an atheist when a tragedy strikes, right?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
like there's no one that isn't saying thoughts and prayers. It's
Yeah.
like there's people that I know have claimed to be atheists, don't believe in God, saying those things, tweeting those things. It's like I don't know.
Yeah,
It seems a little disingenuous. Again, I'm not saying don't pray for Damar. I'm just saying, can we like not wait for tragedy to strike to actually have a conversation about
and what I'm hoping is that from all this, from this, maybe people will actually see, maybe with his recovery and things like that, maybe they actually see that, it's actually, maybe this could be the power of prayer actually working. And maybe they start having some questions and having a conversation. It just seemed to me that there was something that at least shifted in our culture that at least brought people together, which I think we've been begging for because there's just been such a divide. And I think overall, there's still going to be a divide because when it comes down to it, when it comes down to the real conversations of talking about Jesus and talking about relationship and all that stuff, there still will be a great divide. But I think there's at least some people that will have a conversation. And that's what I'm hopeful. And I felt moved from some of that stuff that happened. So obviously, it goes without question. We all want Damar Hamlin to recover and be well and be good. I believe he's a believer himself, is what I saw some of the articles, and his family is churchgoers as well. So that's the best to hope for. I agree with you guys that there's still lots of people that are gonna try to turn this into something ugly, but I'm trying to take the positive out of it. So
I think one thing to take away, one thought to take away is how we have these conversations. A lot of times, it's back and forth yelling, you know, and you see a lot of people just don't want to broach subjects like this. You know, I know that if I have a differing opinion from either one of you guys, I can share it. We can talk about it, and as long as it's not like, I enjoy murder or something like those lines. Like, if it's just a disagreement, we can have a conversation like adults and still be friends. Even if we come to consensus that, we're going to agree to disagree, something along those lines. You really can't for the most part, people are willing to have conversations because they don't know all the facts. I don't know everything, you don't know everything. But there's just a small group of people who are very vocal about it and makes it difficult to have conversations, right? It makes it difficult to discuss something in a positive and meaningful way instead of just, you're an idiot, you're dumb, your point of view is stupid, I'm going to blame you, you're racist. Like, people love to pull the race card right away, right?
And the
Sorry,
fact
not.
and the fact that we have all even agreed that, even just having a conversation about, okay, why is it so weird that all these peak athletes are just dropping? Like you mentioned another one in the college game, literally
Yeah.
this weekend. Um, we're going to be labeled conspiracy theorists, right? And that's where we have the issue, right? There's no proper discourse.
As a former peak athlete myself, I'm afraid of passing out from working out, so that's why I've kind of avoided it the last couple of years. So, um, that's how I roll on that. But no, and agreed. I think without the ability to have an open discourse, open discussion, you can't have a meaningful conversation with anything or with anyone about anything, whether it's vaccinations, whether it's death penalty, whether it's faith in Christ, right? And I think as Christians, if we go in the route of picketing and screaming at people, you're just gonna get that back. You're not gonna be able to minister to anybody.
Well, and it's a lose-lose situation, right?
Yeah,
Because when are you in the position to ask those questions? It's usually after something terrible has happened, and no one wants to hear a question of, well, was it something that they right? Like that's insensitive to ask. But then when are you supposed to ask those questions? Like,
Yeah.
so it becomes a you have to have a group like this where you know that we can walk away friends no matter what but that's not how the world works. The
no.
world wants to light you on fire if you like what they're doing to Skip Bayless. Like, I have no love for Skip Bayless, right? But what he tweeted out was not bad. If you actually read the whole tweet, he
Whoa, whoa,
ends it,
whoa, whoa! I can't read more than 100 characters. Can't.
right?
Sorry.
If you actually read to the end of the tweet, he actually says all this stuff I've just said seems so insignificant,
Yeah.
right? Like the whole tweet was saying, yeah, this is bigger than the game, and people are wanting him fired. His own people at the Fox network like Michael Strahan's calling him out live on air. And well, yeah, I don't love, like, all those guys are so phony anyways,
Yeah.
but yeah, it sucks because you can't have honest conversation. Everyone, it's it's a big thing to keep everyone quiet. Keep your opinions to yourself. No one wants to hear them. If you bring them up and they oppose the view or someone gets offended, like, you're not allowed to talk, and it's tough, and you need open lines of communication because eventually, like, we're all going to be thinking what the world, sports media, news media wants us to think because we're not allowed to come up against it, right?
And that's why I think there is a shift in culture happening. We look at even Disney. Disney was previously being guided by a very leftist, very pro LGBT um, person who really pushed that in their the programming, right? So now that they've seen that it's affected their wallet, right? They've now gone back to the old guy, and they said they're going to be more, what do you call it, toe the line of both sides, and basically go back to their roots. I don't think they're going to be outright um, by biblical principles, teaching, and all that stuff, but I think they're going to go back to less pushing their agenda to being more open, which I hope is what we'll see going forward. We're going to see a little bit more of that, where it's a little bit more even in the media.
Well, at the end of the day, let's be completely honest. Money talks, right? You look at states in the U.S. that are trying to be more green. Taxes have gone through the roof. People can't afford to live there anymore. Right? You bring up Disney movies like Buzz Lightyear. I don't think it did that great,
No, it lost money. Yeah.
right? In Saudi Arabia, that they changed movies, right? Like there, there's a lot of virtue speak going on there, but because there's no truth, it's not going to last. So I think you're right. I think there's always been this craving for truth, right? There's craving for truth out there, but people are afraid to ask the questions. So I think, personally, I know I can do a better job of, practicing and walking my faith out in public. Um, it's not always, and to those out there, it's not always easy, but you have to make a concerted effort. And I'll share this. I know I shared it to you, Dan, and you shared it on Sunday. I have a coworker who had an unexpected pregnancy, and was waffling between wanting to keep the baby, wanting not to keep the baby. And obviously, life is important. And I ended up praying about it. And 10:30 at night, I just sent her the link to Crisis Pregnancy Center. I know she's got a bit of a Christian background. She knows I'm a Christian, and I was just supporting her and just trying to say, hey, whether you keep the baby, don't keep the baby, I'm going to support you regardless. But prayed about it, sent the link, and next day she sends me this text that she's decided to keep the baby, and she wants to reignite her walk with God. And something, and it's not me, it's all God, right? And something as simple as sending a link to somebody, and I don't even know if she opened it or not, but just even the act of doing that and having the faith to do that, I mean, saved a life. And you don't have to go out there on a street corner and raise a banner and preach from a milk carton. It's about building those relationships with people in your vicinity, in your community, and being open and honest and saying, I don't have all the answers, and being truthful. That genuineness, yeah, that's the word. Genuineness will get you a lot further than just not protesting, but pretending to be somebody you're not.
I love it, boys. That was great. I was excited to see what you guys had to say about Damar Hamlin, and yeah, I hope that we can be hopeful, and we're probably still on the more skeptical end of things, but of open discourse in our favor. There's lots of open discourse for other people, but that's how it goes. So, Coach, run us through what's going to happen for podcasts kind of going forward?
Yeah, make sure you guys like, subscribe, all Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We're on Spotify and Apple Music. We are committed to coming at you every Wednesday. And it may not be a live version, but it'll be something recorded, but we'll pop it out every Wednesday. Throw us your questions, throw us your hot takes. We'd love to take a run at those, and fan interaction is always good. We appreciate all the support over the last couple of years as we've figured this thing out, and I think our new take on talking about topics that are relevant to our faith and our life is gonna grow this year and be something that we can use to help share the gospel and in a fun and effective way, because sports is awesome and God is awesome and these guys are okay, but let's have some fun doing this.
I also like to take a moment right now and thank me.
All right.
I am this year's 2022-2023 fantasy football champion. Can I get a yeah? All right, that's for me. Thanks to Joel and Drew for really representing the Sports Reverends well. They competed in the Toilet Bowl, didn't make the playoffs and didn't lose. Drew is now a 2-year Toilet Bowl, not champion, but 2-year Toilet Bowl in the Toilet Bowl section. So you guys, way to go. Way to keep it up. But the Sports Reverends are still champions overall. All right, 2 years in a row.
Brown for one, yo.
Yeah, there we go. Maybe White Sports Rev will pick up his game next year. We'll see how things go. He's shaking his head already.
So sour.
There will be an next week. We will have an unveiling of a trophy. Yes, for myself, and
Oh, that's
it
where the
will
league
be
fees went up. I
it,
see. I
it
see.
will be fantastic.
I got the most points in the whole league week 1, and then went on to lose. I think every single week after that.
I think you won one more. I think you got 2 wins. You got 2 wins, and you didn't lose in the toilet bowl. Someone else did.
I know my
Uh,
team performs best. I had a bunch of leagues where my team like was just so good at the end of the season after I was already eliminated.
I'm like your high school basketball team.
Oh,
Oh, shots.
chalk that up to Hayden's ankle again.
yeah. Shout out to Hayden and Andrew for still not paying their league fees. Still waiting on those. And we're excited for 2023-2024 season.
Absolutely. This is fun.
This
is
is
good to be
good.
back.
Good to see y'all. Good to be back. And we out. Peace out, world.
Peace.